and I can't wait. Look, if you've been following me for any sort of time, you know that I love Halo. You also might know that I love the lore of Halo. It's my arguably most favorite part about the IP in the video games. It just is so deep and engrossing and just flat out good that it's really hard to be a Halo fan and not enjoy the lore to some degree. Well, today on March the 10th, 2020, Jeff Easterling, or at GrimBrother1 as you might know him from social media, released another Canon Fodder, which is a sporadic blog post that he does where he delves a little bit deeper into Halo lore regarding certain topics. And man, oh man, is it juicy. Now I say sporadic because the last time Jeff released one of these, it was September of 2019. That was 6 months ago, where he recapped all the happenings of Halo Outpost Discovery and how those actually are in Halo lore. It's really cool. Go back and check out that Canon Fodder to read a little more about that. But Jeff's a pretty busy guy. You know, he's making this little game that we like to call Halo Infinite, so we'll give him a pass. Well, howdy, hey folks, welcome back to the channel. As you know, it is my desire to help bring you some joy in every piece of content that I create. I'm the Coltrane, and let's jump into this Canon Fodder and see some of the juicy goodness that we got from it. Grim jumps right into the thick of it, announcing the new Halo novel, Halo Shadows of Reach, a Master Chief story written by Troy Denning. The official book description reads as follows. October 2559. It has been a year since the renegade artificial intelligence Cortana issued a galaxy-wide ultimatum, subjecting many worlds to martial law under the indomitable grip of her Forerunner weapons. Outside her view, the members of Blue Team, John 117, the Master Chief, Fred 014, Kelly 087, and Linda 058 are assigned from the UNSC Infinity to make a covert insertion into the ravaged planet Reach. Their former home and training ground, and the site of humanity's most cataclysmic military defeat near the end of the Covenant War, Reach still hides a myriad of secrets after all these years. Blue Team's mission is to penetrate the rebel-filled depths of Castle Base and recover top-secret assets locked away in Dr. Catherine Halsey's abandoned laboratory, assets which may prove to be humanity's last hope against Cortana. But Reach has been invaded by a powerful and ruthless alien faction who have their own reasons for being there, establishing themselves as a vicious, occupying force on the devastated planet. This enemy will soon transform Blue Team's simple retrieval operation into a full-blown crisis. And with the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, mission failure is not an option. Okay, several things to unpack here with this announcement. Number 1, this novel continues the narrative post-events of Halo 5. This is extremely exciting because we have had very little of this. The only two prominent pieces of media I'm aware of that currently exist that take place post-Halo 5 events are the Halo novel Bad Blood, which picks up literally right as Halo 5 ends from Spartan Buck's perspective, and the short story in Halo Fractures titled Rossbach's World, which takes place right at the end of Halo 5 and follows the story of Admiral Saren Osman and Lord Admiral Terrence Hood as they escape Earth as a Guardian attacks Sydney, Australia. While both are fantastic stories and I encourage you to read them, neither of them really give us any idea of what the universe is like a year post the created Rise Up and Takeover. A year to a smart AI like Cortana might as well equate to 1 million years to us as humans. I am so curious to know what the state of the universe is under their tyrannic rule. What have they accomplished? And more importantly, how have the remnant of the UNSC and humanity who are resisting are able to either hide or put up a fight, which leads me to my next point. This book in some way is going to give us insights about how the UNSC is able to battle against Cortana and her forces. When the book's description says, quote, assets which may prove to be humanity's last hope against Cortana in reference to the reason Blue Team is being sent to Reach, that very much is telling. I can't help but wonder how this will tie into the 2019 E3 Discover Hope trailer when on Chief's HUD when examining the inserted AI chip it says Weapon Containment Unit or something quite similar. Could whatever they are presumably using to try to contain or defeat Cortana be at Castle Base, where Dr. Halsey essentially did all of her work, and where, from what I understand, more or less is the location that Cortana was made and born? Time will tell, but I'm sure there's a connection somehow. The third thing to mention is the fact that Blue Team is present on the sweet cover art. Seriously, look at how cool this is. And all of them are wearing updated armor that is quite similar to the Chiefs from the Discover Hope trailer. Now look, I love Blue Team. I've loved them ever since I read the Fall of Reach novel, and I love hearing more about them in every piece of media that we get Halo related. While their execution in Halo 5 was not perfect, I was just thrilled to finally see them in game. Fred, Linda, and Kelly are beloved by many Halo fans, and it was just so cool to finally actually see them on screen, present with the Master Chief. I mean, look, I even have a little Kelly figure. Look at this. I need to find a Chief, a Fred, and a Linda, but I have a Kelly. I sincerely hope they return in-game in Halo Infinite. Now, does this cover mean that they will for sure be in the game? No, it does not. But the fact that they are intentionally shown to be in new armor, I hope means more than just the fact that they've also received the Mjolnir upgrades. I really hope that they're actually going to be in the game with their new armor. What is also interesting to consider is that Kelly has her signature shotgun Oathsworn, and Linda is wielding her specialized sniper rifle, Nornfang. Both of these weapons made their appearance in Halo 5 for use in campaign and in some multiplayer modes. Could this mean they will return as well? Well, I would bet you some type of Warzone game mode is returning in Halo Infinite, and I'm sure Rex are as well, so I sure hope it does. I really like the special weapon types in Halo 5, and I like the slight leaning into and the sense of mythology and space magic that they gave. It was like a half step in the direction of a game like Destiny or Anthem. Not so much that they were over the top and felt un-Halo, but it gave a depth and a character to the weapon pool. I think depending on what sort of PvE modes Halo Infinite has to offer, it would be cool if special variations and customizations of weapons like this returned. I mean, just look at this for a little bit. Look how good that they look. You got the Chief, you got Kelly, you got Linda, you got Fred back here in the background. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this armor. I think it looks absolutely fantastic for all of Blue Team. I absolutely love it. So good. Now, the fourth and last point to discuss from this piece of news is when the official description reads, quote, "But Reach has been invaded by a powerful and ruthless alien faction who have their own reasons for being there, establishing themselves as a vicious, occupying force on the devastated planet. This enemy will soon transform Blue Team's retrieval operation into a full-blown crisis." Now, who could this alien faction be? On Twitter, I immediately saw people talking about how it could be Atriox and is banished on Reach. While I think this could be possible, I'm not entirely sure how based on what we know so far. In Halo Wars 2, forces of the Spirit of Fire destroyed Atriox's lone Covenant carrier, the Enduring Conviction, and we don't see him have any other spacefaring vessel capable of slipspace with him on the Ark, so I would be surprised if Atriox and his banished were on Reach, unless of course he found some forerunnership on the Ark and he used that. It could also be quite possible that there's another sect of Atriox's forces elsewhere who came to Reach. People really loved the Banished in Halo Wars 2, and from what I can tell, would be genuinely glad to see them in a mainline Halo game. However, I think it's more likely that this is some sort of new Covenant. I do not have any source for this, but I recall seeing in the summer of 2019 amidst the Halo Outpost Discovery Tour that Frank O'Connor was on record saying that there would be a Covenant sect in Halo Infinite. Now again, I do not have a source for that. I just remember in the summertime at one of the Halo Outpost discoveries, around that time period, there was a big debate on Twitter about how people were kind of like, oh my goodness, how can we still have the Covenant? We already defeated them at the end of Halo 3. Are they just going to keep sticking around? Like, so don't at all take what I'm saying here as gospel. I don't have any source for it. I just remember that being talked about. However, if you consider the Elite, Grunt, and Jackal toy models at the New York Toy Fair last month that we saw, none of their armor models at all resembled Banished style armor. It was all very Covenant-like. Now this of course doesn't mean anything, but it bears keeping in mind. I'm quite curious who this new ruthless alien faction is going to be. My money is on it being some type of revamped Covenant. The Covenant are such a sub-brand of Halo that it's hard to imagine a reboot of Halo in Halo Infinite without the Covenant properly being a part of the game. Halo Shadows of Reach is scheduled to drop on 9/22/20, so just about 6 months from now, and I can't wait. Moving on in the blog, we see Jeff make mention of the new video series titled Oni Archive, which act as a means to help catch new fans up on what has transpired within the Halo universe. Canonically, they are the work of an Oni Section 2 propaganda initiative. They are well worth the watch because there is something being indicated too in the videos. While listening to the narrator, who's nameless, it sounds as if these recordings take place after the end of the Human Covenant War, but before the events of Halo 4 and onward, when Oni began to be willing to be public with the Spartan program for the sake of improving morale amongst Earth and its colonies. Now, I need to give it a few more listens and some contemplations, but it definitely sounds like there's something going on just by the way that these are being delivered, the fact that it's Oni Section 2. There's more than meets the eye here. I don't know what that is yet. I need to just spend some more time contemplating it, but be aware there's something to this beyond just narrating the events of what's happened in Halo to catch people up. To wrap up the blog, Grim then draws interest to the recent Vidoc style video 343 produced to showcase the making of Halo 5's Master Chief suit to use for events and for such cool things like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's super cool to watch all that went into making the suit, and it's certainly worth the watch. I think it's really cool that they made this suit to help cement this era of Halo and this particular suit of armor and the legacy of Halo. I personally really loved the Halo 4 and 5 suits for the Master Chief, so I was glad to see this made. Grim then goes on to give some community spotlight shoutouts to some folks in the community who cover and discuss Halo lore. Here he specifically spotlights Brendan Lowry and the folks at Podcast Evolved, and a really cool voiceover reading of an expert of Halsey's Journal read by the extremely talented Kat Peterson on Installation 00's YouTube channel. Definitely check these folks out, and particularly listen to the excerpt reading that Kat Peterson does. She does a tremendous job sounding like Dr. Halsey, and I was frankly so surprised at how Jen Taylor-like she sounded like in her delivery of the character. Well, that does it for this issue of Canon Fodder. Man, was it a pretty heavy one. I was not expecting it at all today, like probably most of us weren't, but man, am I glad that we got it. As a fan of Halo's extended universe, I am thrilled that we're getting another novel and that this one is going to act as a nice tie-in to Halo Infinite and give us some updates on what has happened post Halo 5. But let me know in the comments below what you thought of this issue of Canon Fodder and what you thought of what I mentioned here in this video. Do you believe Blue Team will return in Halo Infinite in-game sporting their new armor? Who do you think this new alien faction is? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then a like and a share helps me immensely. If you would like to see more content from me, then consider subscribing and then hitting the notification bell so you don't miss anything. But please know that your viewership is always enough for me. Be sure to come interact with me on Instagram and Twitter to talk about all of this. But again, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Could whatever they are presumably using... Gracious. Could whatever they are... Lord have mercy.